Okay. Hello, world. Hello, everybody. Come in. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about racism real quick. And I'm going to give you guys the just a strategic plan of how we deal with this principality. See, first you need to know what you're actually battling against. When you are dealing with a racist person, a Klan member, somebody who's proud to be white and thinking that white is the only one, or proud to be black and thinking that black is the only race, proud to be Chinese, thinking that Chinese is the race, proud to be Indian or Indian and thinking that the Indian... Okay, look, any type of racism, you have to strip the enemy of his royal authority first of all. So you unmask him, get past what you see. You got to unmask him, okay? Because a lot of times what happens is we are losing battles that are already won because we're not effectively fighting against the enemy. We're fighting against a substance instead of actually fighting the enemy. So here it is. Racism, hatred, these are fruitless deeds of darkness. Okay? They have no power. They need the power of life in us to believe in them for them to continue in their foolishness. No lie. Listen to me well. You have to believe that someone who's full of hatred, that their hatred is greater than love. For the hatred to be able to effectively produce destruction in the natural realm. Okay? And so, what we do is, the life in me, I see that this is nothing. So I'm not going to give the life that is in me to something that is nothing. Alright? Because then I'll make it something. Let me say that again. Racism and hatred is a part of a fruitless deed of darkness. It cannot produce anything. It cannot produce anything. It cannot grow anything. There's no life in it. So since there's life in me, if I acknowledge the hatred, if I fear the hatred, then I've given up a part of life in me to give to like, okay, the life that is in me, that is joy, that is love. When I fear, I give my power into nothing, making it something, okay? And this is how you strip the enemy of his royal authority. Alright? If somebody's operating under nothing, well, you can do nothing. That's what you can do. If I fear you, now you can do something because I've just given a part of my life over to fear. And now fear is going to begin to cause destruction in the natural realm where I can see. But what you don't see is how this works for our good. So I see you operating in nothing. One of two things can happen. I could choose to ignore you and you will become exactly what you're doing. Nothing. And nothing can do nothing. And so when nothing tries to do something, there's a pain to remind nothing that you can't do anything. That's what that pain does. It's a sacrifice. Obedience is better than a sacrifice. Love is obedience. Pain is a sacrifice. But God is so good, he said that if you give up them ashes, which represents the sacrifice, he would give us beauty. The other thing that can happen whenever you're dealing is that you see an individual operating under darkness and you choose to love the individual. And so the pain that the pain of the actions of the individual that was meant to come on you, when you choose to love, it is returned back to the sender and it begins to overwhelm the vessel that it's operating in, to the point that either the vessel is set free or the vessel is cut down. And this is these truths that I'm trying to get to the body of Christ. I was playing with my child the other day, and we was playing with toy trucks. You know, he's doing our little thing. You know, and as a mother, as a bear, I will do what God has required of me to do for His children here in the earth, as it is in heaven. So I do not fear what fear can do, because I don't believe it's greater than love. And God is a God of justice. And I carry joy. And the joy of the Lord is my strength. Hey! So we're playing with our trucks. You know, we're just doing a little thing. And we're not really... I mean, we're just... You're not really doing anything. We're just playing. It looks like we're not doing anything. But really what we was doing as I'm playing with my son is I'm giving him a foundation of joy and laughter and memories that he can go back to as God grows him up to become a young man and eventually a man, a young adult and all that, he will have a foundation of great memories of playing with his mother and just the time that he was spending. And so this is what's going on, where it seems like sometimes I'm just speaking off the side of my neck and I'm not really talking about things that people understand. What God is doing is he's using the things that I've been through in life and the darkness that I did, through disobedience that I did go through. And he was merciful in my life so that I would share the things that I had learned from the things I had seen when I was operating in darkness. And how I watched, the angels beat the demons that were trying to destroy my life and send me to hell, a place of forever torment where there is no light, there is no love, it's only darkness. And so, and I'm just using what God has given me to let people know that, like, this is the foundation of the spiritual world, where it may look like, it only sounds, how God say it to me? How you say it, Jesus? How you say it? The spiritual realm is only overwhelming whenever you choose not to acknowledge who you actually are. Okay? When you acknowledge that you really are made in the likeness and image of God, God is a spirit. He's also love. So you're made in the likeness and image of a spirit called love. And whenever people start speaking these spiritual truths, it won't be overwhelming if you just accept the truth that God is trying to bring forth, that he is trying to awaken his bride. The bride is the spirit man. We all recognize that we all have flesh. The point isn't to acknowledge everyone's sin, because everyone's got it. Oh, everyone's got sin. We don't have to keep acknowledging that everybody falls short. We have to keep acknowledging. What we're doing now is we are awakening the bride to take over the land, because God said enough is enough. God said he is a God of justice. God said that the saints would rule the land. Everything in the Revelation, it's going to come forth before the Antichrist rises. And so in this season, the church gets to arise and take her place as a bride here in the earth as it is in heaven. And everyone is going to be able to see God's glory shining among people, his glory, his signs and his wonders, because we're being a part of this generation who has to see it in order to believe. But God is still so good, even though he's, that's a wicked thing not to be able to trust God. But God is even so good that he'll pour out his goodness so that people will repent and come back to him. Because his people will never be put to shame. But we have got to call on the name that is above every name. I recognize whenever that man, he said he couldn't breathe. And I'm looking at, Satan inside of a vessel do what he did. And I was like, the only way that we win is that pain, that watching what hatred is able to do in the natural realm, which causes a destruction somewhere within our spirit man and in our soul, just to see that as a mother, as a black woman, just to see that type of hatred, and as a believer to see that type of vessel being completely deceived by Satan. The only way that we truly overwhelm him is to love. Love does exactly what destruction, when we see destruction in the natural, that's what love does in the supernatural. It does the same thing to the enemy. That's what I mean about I'm going to choose to love these people, because I'm going to choose to love you to life, or I'm going to choose to love you to death. That's up to them. And so what the death would look like as a mercy is that you would stay in a place of torment, because being a wicked servant is going to put you in a prison of torment. Paul was in a prison, but he was a wicked servant. He was rejoicing. And so I'm going to rejoice in the fact that my brother is with the Lord. I'm going to rejoice in the fact that Jesus is still the resurrection and the life. And I know it's hard to see someone who does injustice just get by with it, right? Hey, didn't God do that to us sending Jesus? Didn't we all cut him down? Don't you know that whenever we choose not to love, that we're actually choking the life out of Christ? And then you'll have all these people around, because we have such a great crowd of witnesses. You'll have all these people that are just like, just love, just forgive, just have mercy. No, I can't do it. They don't deserve it. They need to. And we choke the life. We bow down on Jesus's neck. This is real out here. This is not even, the devil isn't even trying to hide. These are real battles happening really every morning that you wake up. You're either on the winning side or the losing side, and love never fails. This is why I can stand up and look at somebody in the clan directly in their face and not be moved. Because I know you don't have power. You gave it up. You gave up your power to the serpent who lost on his best day. He lost. And you fear a person who's given up their whole life to that worm. How could you fear that? You just traded something for nothing. And so you need to start dealing with principalities in God's people. As such, if they want to operate in nothing, you don't have to acknowledge that, which leaves them in a prison of darkness. Or you can choose to love them. Okay? You can choose to love them, and it will overwhelm whatever's on them in the vessel. And this is what I mean about you can choose to acknowledge, you can choose not to. There's a part in the Bible that God says that He will stick your tongue to the roof of your mouth concerning certain individuals. Like, you won't be able to pray for certain individuals. If God's got you praying for particular people, and one day as you begin to pray, your tongue is stuck to the roof of your mouth, like as you get ready to pray, nothing comes out. What God is letting you know is that He is the one over this situation now. Whatever He decides is best for the vessel, whatever He thinks is necessary to come upon the land, He is going to do. And we're just going to take it because He is God. And a footstool should never tell the feet where you can put them. Well, the earth is God's footstool. We all dwell here in the earth. Some of us dwell in the secret place of the Most High. That's the safest place to be dwelling if you really want to know the truth. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The dwelling in the secret place here in the earth would be dwelling in love. You're not finding anyone in love. Love is a covering. But also, you don't want to be uncovered out here. So, see a brother or sister, and they're see a brother or sister, and they're operating in nothing. Well, I have a choice. I have a choice. I can choose to either acknowledge the situation and choose to love the vessel, because that's the right thing. I'm choosing to love you. But if that love drives him out, now you're not able to acknowledge something that's not there. And that's what I mean about you either choose to acknowledge or the person stays in the dark in a prison. So you choose to acknowledge, right? Every believer is going to choose to love. It's going to hurt. Yes, we know that. But our flesh is not our friend. Our flesh is actually warring against God, who actually is trying to choke the life out just like that officer did. That's what the flesh is actually trying to do to who we are. Choke the life out of us by giving us everything that we want, giving us everything that we think we desire. And as we're engaging in these things that have nothing to do with building up the spirit man, it's choking the life out of Jesus Christ, who is our breath. And that's what it does when we partner up with the flesh. So we acknowledge that this vessel is under attack, or this vessel is possessed, or this vessel is whatever. The vessel is weak, pretty much is what's going on. So we choose, I'm going to love this individual. Now that love will begin to overwhelm whatever spirit is on it. Whatever spirit that's not holy, it's going to be overwhelmed, okay? Once the vessel is overwhelmed, the vessel has a choice to make. The vessel can choose to continue in its sin, and that will drive it out, leading it to death. That's exactly what's going to happen there if God does not intervene or send an intercessor to stand in between death from getting the soul. So we love the individual. We love these people who are overcome in these awful sins. We just continue to overwhelm them. And so they move away from you. Once they move away from you, what happens is the love is driving them now. It's driving them out. Once love drives out an individual, it's between them and God. It's between them and God from that point. If God doesn't place an intercessor to plead on behalf of that vessel is being led to death. When death comes, if the vessel does not have life in it, you have no life in you. If you've given up everything for money, for sex, for fame, for a look, to be accepted by a group or a clan that doesn't even care about the name of the living God, okay? So they're not only taking the very existence, the very breath that they are, they're taking the breath and they're just trampling it. Could you imagine standing before the living God who's rich in mercy and Him smiling and saying, "What did you do with the life that my son died to give you?" And to him look and see the blood of Jesus all over you, trampling, destroying, sex, and just having, oh, I just feel so good, I'm so strong. But you're not. You just gave up all the strength that you was to the worm. And on his best day, he lost. God said, I've given you power over all the works. Do you hear what I'm saying? This is what I mean about stop being intimidated by these men. They need you to fear. They actually need you to be afraid of them for them to have any power, because they gave theirs up. Stop acknowledging that filth. Nothing can do nothing, and nothing is going to stay doing nothing, because I'm not going to give the life that is me into you. You going to have to show me. I'm in the show me state. So you going to have to show me what God gave you the power to do. If you gave your power up to the devil, show me. The ground has more power than the serpent. So that means whenever these individuals come around you, the dirt on your feet, the dirt under your feet, sorry, not the dirt on your feet, the dirt under your feet has more power. All you got to do is stand. I love you guys that love Jesus Christ. I hope that encourages you. I'm just, everything that God has given me, I just put it out here. This is not the first time I've dealt with these spirits inside of vessels, but every single one of them, some couldn't see me, some couldn't find me, some couldn't walk close, and then when some did walk close, some of them had to walk away because the Spirit of the living God was so overwhelming, they didn't know what to do. Confusion immediately hit the vessels because they didn't know what to do. Because God made their minds, He made their hearts. So whatever they chose to do, once they come into the presence of love, now you don't know what you're going to do. You're going to bow, or you're going to walk away. Because what happens is Satan ain't got no legs. So when he comes in the presence of love, he loses his legs if he stays. Or he tries to stand, he'll lose them legs. So usually he walks away. Because he doesn't know how to fight against something that's already beat him. Man, I love you guys so much. I pray that you just put this in action, okay? Put this in action. Stop being afraid of powerless people. You cannot serve God and hate people and murder people and do that and think that you're going to intimidate anybody. Your weapon recognizes love. Your weapons recognize another authority. I'm telling you, now has come the time. Have a great day.